What's up YouTube, it's your boy Dashing and we back with another draft league. This time it's a league we created, the TPL, Teams Premier League. This is a NatDex Ubers league that allows megas, even multiple ones to be used in the format. As you can imagine, the teams in the name, we are teams of 3 coaches going against other teams in 3v3 games every week. I am one of the coaches of Alliance and this will be my draft analysis. So we got 10 months to draft with 5 tier picks and 5 point picks. We have to complete the tiers before the points. So I was like in the 20s place out of 30. So I had no plans on getting certain mons that I want because I'll probably get sniped anyway. Knowing this and knowing everyone will be picking their tier 1 picks, I decided to get a tier 3 mon and went with Durant. So Kevs Durant as they call it. Very good mon for its tier, especially since we only allow maxing for mons tier 3 and lower. This makes Durant one of the most threatening mons in the format. Although its stab types are really bad, it has some coverage and the power behind it is enough to compensate. On my second pick, I decided to be generous with the other players and pick my tier 1 mon last, just so they have a dibs on their favorite mons, and I don't need to decide what I want, I'll just get what's available. So I went with Mega Altaria, a good bulky mon, unique typing, can beat most dragons 1v1, even the Uber ones, and can be defensive or offensive, has access to heal bell, recovery. Just a very good value mon. It doesn't do anything spectacularly well, but it does a lot well. For my third pick, I decided to get a priority user, and Cottony just so happened to be tier 5. It's quite limited in its moveset, but it does have options to change the momentum of the game, whether it's subbing to stall max turns, setting up a sweeper with memento, giving support with Tailwind. Those are good enough reasons to pick this mon, especially for its tier. For tier 4, or for my fourth pick rather, I decided to get a fire resist since Durant and Cottony can't really take a hit at all. I didn't want to put that pressure on Altaria. I thought about getting Vaporeon, which, would really do well as a fire resist, but I had mixed feelings about getting it since I just used it in the last league. Luckily, someone already got it, so I didn't have to think about it. I eventually went with Seismitoad, good typing in water and ground, gets access to rocks and knockoff. Swift Swim and Water Absorb are very useful abilities, and it got a buff this gen with the removal of hidden power. So it's another bulky mon that that we can use to, not be so vulnerable. For my last pick, I was listening to the song The Horses, and I just got inspired by that song. Such a good song. And I decided to pick Spectrier. I'll just call it Spectre, because it's so much easier. So this one is like if Gengar was an Ultra Beast. It's a one-move mon that's typically not good in draft league format, but that one move does the trick. It's like a weaker version of Dracovich's Vicious Rend in a way, but it has more damage potential like as it goes longer with the KOs you get. And if a team doesn't really have an immunity or a resist, after a kill or two, it can just force them to max their mons. And if they've already maxed, then that could be GG. Now we go to the points pick. I decided to get Arceus for 26 points. In this league, Arceus will be type lock, so I locked it into Steel type. But Steel is probably the best defensive type, and it's a way to cover Mega Altaria's weaknesses. Because yeah, Durant does that too, but one mistake and we lost our world-breaking max mon. If anything, despite its massive stats and move pool, I'm disappointed Arceus doesn't get any pivot moves. It's more or less gets everything else. so I can't really complain too much, I guess. My next pick was Shaman for 18 points. It's amazing that no one picked it at this point. Has very good stats, good move pool, reliable recovery, support in aromatherapy. It's just a good mon. And it also covers the ground weakness of Arceus. I thought about getting a tier 5 mon and didn't notice there were a lot of tier 5 mons that were too good for the tier, and we'll have to fix that in the next season. I just got Mariani, the mini pecs, as they would call it. I'll just call it Marnie because I'm not used to the farmer name. So it's the poor man's specs. It's decent with Eviolite. It's a grounded poison type, which is always nice to have. Another fire resist, and with the regen, it can take more hits. At this point, I needed a mon that has pivot, so I went with Silvally Electric. Decent stats. Electric is one of the better offensive types. We don't really need this to be offensive though, because we have enough threats offensively. This will mainly serve as a bulky pivot mon. Before I picked Silvally though, I wanted Latias, since it's in tier 3 and I could maybe get another tier 3, but it got sniped unfortunately. I thought, well, I could still get Latios or either Mega Latis, but they don't really have pivot as well and doesn't synergize with Tailwind as much. I kinda wanted at this point a hard wall breaker, and I want that needed speed to be just like a world breaker. And unfortunately Mega Heracross was already picked, so I went with Hoopa Unbound, the destroyer of worlds himself. Jesus. I'm surprised nobody picked Hoopa as well, because it's really good. I think in this format, it's not really good in the ladder because you can't really prep for everything, but I think it's really good in a draft format. It's gonna be hard to defend against, especially if it's Nasty Plot or choice sets, and with Tailwind support, it can really force the enemy to max right away, otherwise their team gets destroyed. So that's the team. I'm really excited for this season. If you like the content, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.